Hey everybody, it's your favorite friend and fiend, Kenneth Ramone. Back here again in the Cruiser Bruiser. Back with you this time with a different type of video. I know you guys have been wanting me to do more videos where I review like movies from my Dollar Tree hauls. Just trying to find the time just to watch all the movies and get back with you. It's kind of been tough, but I know that since it's spooky season, I wanted to make an extra special video for you guys where I kind of go over like my top 10 favorite horror movies that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. And I want to dedicate this episode to a very special viewer who's been commenting on my videos. They've just been so awesome and I appreciate all the support. So short and sweet, this video is for you. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate all the support. So yeah, you guys, I got my movies right here. About to review these suckers for you. Alright guys, and I want to apologize really quick. My voice might be going in and out, as you can tell. It's because I've been battling a cold for the past few days, but nothing serious. I went and checked, nothing serious, but yeah, I've just been wanting to get this video up there for you, so I'm super stoked, and now I feel like it's the time to do it. The time feels right. The weather's a lot better today. It's not as crazy as it was a couple days ago, so woo! Alright, so happy, you guys. Alright, here we go. Alright, so coming in at number 10 in my top 10 Dollar Tree horror movies is Selfie Man. Now, this is at number 10 because I feel 75% of this movie is pretty good, okay? And it isn't until, like, the last act where it's like, oh, come on, man. So, anyways, you guys, it's about a vlogger, all right? It says her name is Julia, right? She goes to visit her cousin, and then after they visit, she becomes, like, very ill, right? And then, like, there's, like, this phenomenon going on where, like, people that have been taking selfies, right? And then I think by, like, the 13th selfie, you see, like, this creature in the back right here, like the selfie man right here. And, yeah, then all of a sudden, like, they go missing for whatever reason. And that's kind of what happens to this person's cousin, right, upon visiting her. So this person like goes like looking for answers regarding this phenomenon, and it requires her to go through the dark web. Now, I don't know too much about the dark web myself, but I know that it's a real thing. So that's why like this movie really got under my skin. So anyways, but like when she's exploring the dark web, she's asking like these questions, like trying to crack the code, like to get more answers, because there's like she found this video that her cousin made, and she could only find part 1, but part 2 leads her like to the answer of this like whole phenomenon, right? So she's trying to find part 2, and she recruited this guy who knows a little bit more about the dark web and stuff to try to help her in finding that video. So anyways, the two of them, they go like on the hunt. And this is where like the movie, it kind of, it is spooky, but you're kind of hooked at the same time because you're kind of like along for a journey, right? You actually like feel for these characters and you want them to get closure on the situation. But anyways, it's so creepy. Like she goes like asking questions to this person and they're totally anonymous, right? There's like no pictures of them. All right. They just go by like this weird username, right? And then so like she's all communicating with this person, and then they're like, okay, we will answer your question, but first you need to tell us your deepest, darkest fear. And then she like puts in an answer, and he's like, that answer is incorrect. And she puts in another answer. He's like, nope, why don't you tell us what your real deepest dark fear is? And then she finally budges and puts what her deepest fear is. And then they're like, that is correct. Here is a portion of the video. And that's it. Like they only leave like some clues, right? Because they want to get like more sensitive and personal information, because they're like hackers, right? So they want to get as much information from these people as possible. So I felt like this was really interesting. But like I said, come the last act, everything goes down the toilet, okay? Because it's just like, they took like this selfie man. It's like the selfie man was a drawing. Like someone made a drawing, right? And it's like they only had the budget to like Photoshop this drawing into the actual movie. And it's so painfully obvious. Like if they just had enough in the budget to really put in some real CGI or even some practical effects, right? And I applaud them for actually going the route of incorporating some practical effects in there, but like when they do that, the actors involved are so bad, okay? So they bring in like these demons, and the makeup design is pretty cool and all, but these are like the most horrible actors you could even imagine, right? And that's how the movie kind of ends. You know, it ends with like the big reveal and the demons behind it, but it's like, oh my God, where did they find these people? Like, if they just had a little bit more in the budget to invest in some like really good actors, and maybe a little bit better in the practical effects department, and some better CGI, you would have had like a really good movie right here. This was really creepy. It really freaked me out. So for that, I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. This is like a C right here from me. It's just all right. Could have been better. Alrighty, and number 9 on my list is The Alpha Test. Now, this is a movie that is out at your Dollar Trees right now, and I really recommend you pick this up if you're a horror fan. All right, if you're really into horror, you want to just watch this. It's pretty good. Now, what it's about this latest robot technology right here that kind of like serves like as like a housemaid, you know? It's like instead of like going through humans and things like that, like they've invented this new technology where, you know, you could put your trust into a machine. Or so they thought, right? So, it serves kind of like as a friend to the family as well. And there's a little girl in the family that grows a bond with this robot. And basically what this movie's about is about like artificial intelligence that gains human emotions. And yeah, and it takes a turn for the worse, and I'm sure you could imagine. But yeah, so I guess what happens, like, just to sum it up, this robot becomes like a friend to the little girl in the family, and the little girl, like, yeah, she teaches the robot, you know, not to let anyone bully it, right? And there's like the grandmother in the picture. She's very skeptical about this robot. She thinks like it's just listening in on all their personal information. Maybe they're giving that information to the government. Like, you know, like she's very, very skeptical about this latest technology, and she just wants it out of the house. Like she even goes as far as like kidnap, but yeah, like literally like tying the robot to a chair in the basement just so it's away from the family and not hearing all like their personal information and stuff. Like she's genuinely terrified of this robot, right? And the little girl loves this robot. It's her only friend, right? And she's teaching the robot, you know, don't let grandma get to you, okay? Don't let them bully you like that, because I think the grandma goes as far as saying, oh, what a stupid robot you are, and things like that, like actually like talking down to the robot, because she doesn't believe like it could actually gain like human emotion or anything. She just thinks it's, you know, it's trash, but it's picking up like all like the private information. Like she's just very skeptical on that. But anyways, so yeah, the little girl just like is the friend to the robot, and the robot also like picks up like aspects of like horror movies, like, because I know the father like is like a horror movie buff, and he's like, yeah, you know what would be cool? Bring Alpha here, let's watch this movie together. And I don't know, they're watching something like along the lines of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the robot is just sinking in all this information, right? And so now the robot knows, you know, how to attack when the robot is being bullied, and the kid tells her, don't let them treat you this way. And then now the robot knows what to do, and then the robot gains a mind of its own. And you guys, I will stop right there. I want you to watch this movie. It's got really good kills in this movie. All right, this is a horror movie, I will say. Like, I've compared it to Bicentennial Man and artificial intelligence. Yes, there's that aspect, but I want to say if you're like a fan of Terminator, you're really gonna like this one. Okay, it's just about like, you know, killer robots basically, and has that whole cool science fiction aspect. Yeah, you guys, I definitely recommend this. But it also there's like a sense of humor in this. Like, if you're like a horror buff and you like black comedy and horror comedy, you're gonna like this one as well. Cause I feel like this is a movie that's not meant to be taken too seriously. Like, I feel like it was like a joke amongst friends, and then they're like, you know what? That would make a really cool horror movie. Yeah, so then they probably just started writing, and then they sent their scripts to somewhere, and they're like, hey, you know what? We'll make this movie. So, yeah, you know, don't take it too seriously, okay? If you like horror comedy, you like black comedy, you're gonna like this. And, you know, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but for what it is, it's pretty dang cool. So I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. Crisscross awesome sauce. Check out the alpha test. Alright, and number 8 on my list is Alien Invasion. Now, this is one of those movies that I can't really go into detail because it's got a really cool twist in it. But I will say the basics here. So this is about like a journalist crew that gained what do you call it, access to like this documentary, like I think from the 90s. It looks like grainy VHS quality stuff where like there's like all these reports on like alien activity going around the town and whatnot. And similar to the Blair Witch, you know, they gain that curiosity and want to go into the woods to kind of like discover more about like this alien stuff, if it's real, if it's not real, if it's a bunch of hype. So that's what like this crew ends up doing. Right here, you guys can look at the back. And yeah, it kind of just takes this twist, like right when they go into like it's kind of like a hospital. Like, if memory serves me correct, it's been a while since I last watched this, but I definitely had like Jurassic Park type of vibes when I was watching this. Like, you know, the part, the infamous scene in Jurassic Park, I feel like is what makes Jurassic Park anywhere near a horror movie. But like, it's a scene where like they're in like this little laboratory, and then you have the raptors that are trying to find the humans, and their humans are like hiding behind like you know, the Bunsen burners and whatnot. And yeah, so like I had a similar vibe when I was watching this to like that Jurassic Park scene where like the aliens are just, you know, lurking around trying to find the humans. The humans are hiding for their lives in like these rooms inside. I think it was a hospital. It's some building, some facility where like these aliens have making a home for themselves. And it is really cool, you guys. The CGI isn't that great. You know, it would have been cool if they had like the practical effects and actually built the aliens themselves, but for what it's worth, the CGI is okay. You know, it doesn't take away from the movie, but I will say once you get to the twist, it's really gnarly, you guys. I mean, you got to have the stomach for it. I will say that. Like, it kind of goes like the Hostel route. I want to say that, or so, like one of those movies where it's extra bloody and gory. So if you like blood and gore and you like science fiction alien films, this is the movie for you guys. But, you know, go in there on an empty stomach, okay? Because I kid you not, I needed a long shower after watching this movie. It is very, very gross. But that being said, it is very good too. So I'm going to give this 9 out of 10 as well. Crisscross awesome sauce. And if you see this at the Dollar Tree, definitely worth $1. Check it out. Are you guys ready for number 7 on my list? Number 7 is Polaroid. Now this movie was really cool, man. I did not expect this to be as good as it was. I just saw the cover and I'm like, Polaroid? Who's gonna make a movie about Polaroid in 2021, you know? Like, seriously? But, no, this movie was really cool. And, I guess, like, to kind of briefly describe how like the Polaroid comes into the picture, this woman just comes across this old, vintage camera, I think like at an antique shop, and she starts taking pictures with it. She thinks it's the coolest thing, but then all of a sudden like something weird is going on with these photos, you know? And then like the people that are in the photos, and you know, the people that are in the background, you know, something happens to them. And then like when you when you do something like you lightly touch the photo, it actually happens to the people in real life. It's almost like a voodoo doll, you know? So like if you accidentally burn the photo, then the people in the photo catch on fire and things like that. So it kind of has a little bit of like a Final Destination type of vibe with this movie, because like it's like they're trying to protect everybody that's in the photo. And I thought this was really, really good, and it takes like a clever psychological twist at the end, you know, and it's like, it's something that people in general could relate to when you're watching this, because, you know, like we've all encountered scenarios in our life where, you know, everybody has a different story about what happened in like a particular event, and an event that's traumatic too for so many people. And, you know, there's people that take, you know, different sides when it comes to the story, like, you know, oh, you know, I'm on his side or I'm on their side. But in this movie, like you get to see the full picture of like why this camera is haunted, I guess, you know, for lack of better terms, because there's a whole story behind like who owned this camera and what happened to that person. So I feel like I've said enough, but like if you like movies like that, really cool movies that are like have like this horror urban legend to them and this big like psychological twist, like you really dive deep into the characters, all the characters involved, this is a movie you're really gonna enjoy. And take a look at the back too. Like what really drew me into this movie was just the cover art alone, you know, skull face right there. It's only like in a little portion of the movie at a Halloween party, but I thought that was really cool, and, you know, this graphic alone. So that's the reason alone why I picked this up, because I thought, you know, the idea of a Polaroid movie in 2021 is kind of cheesy, but no, you guys, definitely check this out if you're a horror movie buff. This is a really good Halloween time watch. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Definitely check it out. All right, can you guys guess what number 6 on my list is? And that is Sinkhole. Now, this movie is so awesome, you guys. This is one of the very first movies I picked up during this whole Dollar Tree movie craze. And, you know, now they're doing it monthly, man. Every month, the Dollar Tree has DVDs and Blu-rays out. Never was like that before. And this is like at the very beginning of it. This was October 2020, you know, in the heart of that pandemic lockdown. This movie really cheered me up. This one and another one on my list I'm going to talk about real soon. But so this movie may be kind of harder to find now, because this was in like the October 2020 haul. But yeah, you guys, this movie was so cool. And to briefly describe what it's about a school bus, you know, full of students. I guess they're on their way back home. And then the school bus goes into a deep sinkhole, and then now they're trying to get out. And that's it. That's as simple as this movie is, but very, very impactful. Like the way that they're trying to escape, the character development in this movie is very strong. I want to describe this similar to The Breakfast Club, actually. You know, like, you know, you get those kids that are stuck, you know, in detention, and then they, you know, they're so different, but then by the end of the movie, you know, they grow a bond for each other, and they put their differences aside, you know, and, you know, there's that growth there. And you kind of get this with Sinkhole here, except for imagine like a horror movie, you know, they're trying to fight for their lives, you know, they're not trying to fight getting through detention, they're trying to get out of this sinkhole, you know, and survive and see their family again. And the family on the other end of this, you know, they're by the sinkhole next to the construction workers. They're trying to, you know, pull them out, you know. And this movie, oh my gosh, the actors in this are so incredible. The only named actor in this movie is Eric Roberts, who plays the sheriff, and he does a phenomenal job in this movie. He does a phenomenal job in anything he does, but I just love Eric Roberts. And he also adds like a little hint of comedy to this, a little bit of comic relief, because I kid you not, guys, you know, throughout this movie, this movie is a nail biter, okay? Like, there's like parts in this movie where like you think like it's resolved and the kids are gonna get out, and then all of a sudden that rope breaks or something happens, you know, where they're like back to square one and they have to figure out another way to get out of this sinkhole. And if you're like a really claustrophobic person, stay away from this movie, okay? But if you like suspense thrillers that are like also action packed with like a very good character development and a hint of drama too, like there's like this aspect in there where like it gets like to like the political side where like the characters don't even see eye to eye. Like you have like this one girl, right, and this boy who's infatuated with this girl, wants to start a relationship with this girl, but the girl says, oh, no way, your father is the mayor of this town and he's responsible for this sinkhole. I will never go on a date with you. Like seriously, like there's aspects of that in this movie, and I thought this movie was nicely done. I'm sorry, I know I'm all over the place with this movie, but there's a lot to be loved about this movie, so definitely check this one out. 9 out of 10 crisscross awesome sauce from me. Woo! Nope, it's not time for lunch yet, kids. It's time for my top 5 favorite horror movies from the Dollar Tree. And coming in at number 5 is Frankenstein versus the Mummy. And you guys know how much of a Frankenstein fan I am. I definitely had to add one into this little list here. So anyways, you guys, yeah, Frankenstein versus the Mummy. This was a really cool time. Definitely a modern take on Frankenstein and the Mummy. Definitely rated R. Okay, this movie is not rated, you know. Maybe it didn't go to the MPAA, but I want to say adults, parents, maybe keep this one away from the kids. I mean, you know, this is up there with like Lady Frankenstein. That was a movie I saw when I was a kid, and I was like, oh, I don't think I'm supposed to be watching this. But, you know, my parents didn't know. They're like, Frankenstein, it's Frankenstein. But, yeah, there's some adult Frankenstein movies out there, and this is one of them. Okay, definitely a modern and adult take on Frankenstein. And the Mummy too. I'm gonna say Frankenstein more because Frankenstein's monster is more in this movie than the Mummy is. But basically what it's about is about 2 professors at a medical university, one being Dr. Victor Frankenstein and the other being like an archaeologist that, you know, kind of studies like ancient cultures and like the mummies and whatnot. So one of them has like a mummy that's in their laboratory that they dug up, and so like they're like examining the mummy, and the other one is trying to bring life back and reanimate dead human tissue, you know, the old school Frankenstein story. And yeah, this movie, you know, some people will think it drags, but I really did enjoy it. You know, like you really get a lot of intake like on that old school story, both with the Mummy and with Frankenstein, and kind of get a lot of backstory in this movie, and I really did like that. But come once like the Frankenstein's monster is there, man, this Frankenstein's monster is creepy. This is I say a modern take. This is like a Frankenstein monster that'll genuinely freak out like today's audience, you know, today's kids. This is not a kids movie, but you know, I guess, you know, if you're in high school, this is all right. But you know, it's pretty out there. It is kind of wild, you know. There's scenes in there that are just really graphic, you know, and this movie doesn't have a rating, but like I said, I'd give it an R, almost close to NC-17, just because it's really wild and graphic out there. But, you know, if you want like actual like cool visual effects with the blood and the gore, and there's some nudity in here. There's graphic nudity in this movie. I really like the ending where Frankenstein's monster and the Mummy finally fight. The fight scene, you know, it's not the greatest in the world, but you know, you kind of feel for the characters, like, because you've learned so much, you know, about the Frankenstein's monster and the Mummy in this case, and the origins and the backstory. You kind of feel for them, and you even come as far as to take a side. And I'm not going to spoil who wins, but, you know, you tend to take a side, whether it be Frankenstein's monster or the Mummy. And at the end, the ending is pretty awesome. You know, I could have had some more fight scenes. You know, it's only like a good, I want to say 10 to 15 minutes, the fight scene at the end, but I feel like it's a good payoff. And the end, like the actual end, like after the fight scene, like you get a little bit of like closure into like what's going to happen now, following up to what happened with Victor Frankenstein in this movie, which I cannot spoil. I'm sorry. So I'm going to be purposely vague, but at the end, you get like a voice recording from Victor Frankenstein himself, and it's just really, really cool. A really cool addition to the Frankenstein franchise and the Mummy franchise as well. So definitely, you guys, check this movie out. If you love Frankenstein, you love the Mummy, this is a 10 out of 10 crisscross awesome sauce from me. All right, we're getting there. Hopefully, I'm not boring you guys too much. But coming in at number 4 is Frenzy. And this is a shark movie, and I feel like this was very similar to The Shallows. But they took it to a whole nother level, and I really did enjoy this one. And, you know, this is a low-budget shark flick, but I feel like with what they can do with it, they did, and they did an outstanding job. Look at that. Look at the cover, you guys, and look at the shark. The sharks in this movie look real. I really did enjoy it. It's like they actually got like footage of actual sharks, and then, I mean, they had a CGI that kills a little bit, but it wasn't like too painfully obvious. And, you know, I still enjoyed it. Like, if you like, you know, shark horror movies, you know, you're going to really enjoy this one. There's lots of bad ones out there, but that's why I felt like I had to include this on my list, because there's people that probably skim through this like, gosh, another shark movie. Next! But no, this one's really good. Definitely up there with The Shallows, like I said. I really did enjoy that one. I enjoyed this one. And what this movie's about, it's about a group of friends that make like a vlog together. They're YouTubers, right? So they go out and they venture out to this cove, right? Which is like said to be like the most dangerous place ever, not to go there. But these guys they're daredevils. They're like, screw it. Let's go do it anyways, you know? So they like vlog their whole adventure. And one thing that people may not like about this movie is there's lots of flashbacks. Like previous vlogs, and but I felt like it was very necessary, like, to kind of get that character development, right? So you kind of understand more about the characters and why they're doing what they're doing. But yeah, it kind of has like this back and forth. So if you're like a viewer that likes a consistent timeline, that might annoy you, but for me, I really dug it. You know, I liked it. I felt like it was a different take. You know, it wasn't something that we commonly see with shark movies. You know, it was good to kind of like go back and forth, like before they entered the cove, and then now, you know, what they're going through and trying to find a way to survive with all these sharks and whatnot. And, you know, and of course, you know, some of them die. I think that's a given. That's not a spoiler. Some of them die, and then you have like the character reflecting back on, you know, their journey with that person and their relationship and how far they've come as friends, and like why that death has some significance to them, and now they have to do what's right for them too, and also honor that person's memory. Like, I felt like this movie was really good. Like, there's just so many aspects to this movie and a lot to enjoy. So I definitely want to give this movie a 10 out of 10 crisscross awesome sauce. This should be out at your local Dollar Trees right now. If you see it, definitely pick it up, you guys. It's an awesome movie. All right, coming in at number 3 on my list is BOAR. This one was really cool, you guys. I mean, man, just look at it. Just look at the cover. I'm going to share the cover really quick with you guys. Like, what really drew me in, okay, was the boar, and like, it looks like they actually made like an animatronic boar, okay, judging by the cover. And let me tell you, the movie itself did not disappoint. There is quite a bit of CGI in this one, like, to start off. So I was like, oh man, it's one of those movies. But then when you actually see the boar, it's just, Yes, man, they got it right, okay? And it's a Universal movie, so I wasn't, expecting anything less from that, So, okay, guys, so, like, for the most of this movie, you do not see the boar. What this movie is about, like, a family on vacation, and they're at this, Australian outback where they got this bloodthirsty boar that's just killing everybody. And that's pretty much what the story is about. But, like, for most of the time, you don't even see the boar. It's kind of like Jaws. It's like they took a lot of inspiration from Jaws, and it really works. And like come the point of this movie where you do see the boar, it is terrifying, you guys. And I heard that 6 people went into actually making this boar. Like it's an actual animatronic, and it's super bloody, and the eyes, man, the eyes are just so cool. It looks like an animal that was actually like tormented, man, and now it's seeking revenge, and that's exactly what they were going for, and they succeeded in this movie. Some of the kills, they went a little bit overboard with the CGI, but I feel like all in all, this movie was awesome. And I think that's all I have to say about this movie. Definitely check it out. Well, what the movie succeeds at doing is just having a wild boar that attacks, and it's out on the hunt, out on the prowl. And yeah, really cool movie, you guys. 10 out of 10, crisscross, awesome sauce. Check it out. Alrighty, you guys, so before I get to my last 2 top favorite horror movies from the Dollar Tree, I just want to thank you all so much for all your support. And if you like what you see so far, please give this video a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Really do appreciate it, you guys. You guys rock. Alrighty, guys, now, this movie is kind of a downer, man. See, like, I'm all uppity, I'm all happy to share my movies with you guys, but, and that's why this movie's number 2. So, coming in at number 2 is The Eyes of My Mother. Now, God, there's a lot to explain about this. This is a lot to unpack here. Actually, no. I mean, since this is a spoiler-free movie review, all I have to tell you guys is that this movie is about, it centers around this little girl, okay? It's a little girl at first, in the first, 10 minutes of the movie, and then her journey, her progression as an adult. And this little girl encounters a traumatic experience where somebody near and dear to her is killed right before her eyes. Okay, right? And then there's only one person to take care of her after what happened, and this one person is very quiet, keeps all the pain to themselves, really suppresses all the emotion that they're going through. And when this little girl wants to talk about it, she has no one to talk to. And eventually that one person that was there for her dies naturally. At least we could assume that it was naturally. The audience could kind of infer that it was a natural death. But then the little girl, I think now a teenager, she has to go through the rest of her life alone, and she's becoming an adult, and then like just going through this traumatic experience. And I guess I could share with you a little bit about it, okay? The person that does the killing to this loved one of the little girl is captured, okay? He is captured, he's kept in a basement, and I guess that's all I will say. And you could imagine where that would go, right? So the little girl keeps the killer captive, and she gets her revenge. And just imagine like the sickest, most sadistic revenge you could think of. Like imagine somebody that killed your loved one, someone near and dear and special to you, and you have them captured, in your basement, locked up. Now, just imagine the sickest, twisted thing that you would do, that you probably shouldn't do, that you'll never do. Okay, let's face the facts here. You would call the police, everything will be resolved. No, that's not how this little girl handles it. And basically anything that you guys would assume that she would handle the situation in the most twisted, bizarre way possible. Yep, this girl goes there, okay? And now she's an adult. So it gets even more twisted with age, and she just has no one to talk to. Like they live in the middle of nowhere. Okay, I tell you, they live out in the middle of nowhere, and this stranger just pops open to their house and kills somebody close to this little girl, and this little girl has to deal with it the rest of her life. And then now she's seeking her revenge and just seeking that comfort because she never had anybody in her life. You know, nobody that's really like special to her now that, gosh, I'm shaking, man, telling this story. Like, okay, you guys, after watching this movie, this is the most twisted movie out there. Okay. And I set it aside, man. I'm like, I'm going to throw that away, man. I feel like I need to wash my hands after watching this movie. Because it is dark. It is so dark. It gets under your skin. But that's what they were trying to do. And they achieved that, man. Success to them, man. And that's why I feel almost guilty giving this a 10 out of 10. Because this is a messed up movie. And I don't want to recommend it to anybody. Like, I even texted one of my friends. I'm like, man, I just saw the most messed up movie in my life. And then my friend told me, oh, was there a lot of gore in it? And I'm like, no. You know, what's the most messed up about this movie is what you don't see. And like what, you know, is inferred and applied by like what, you know, like what the character has gone through. And you could just assume what is done. Okay, like there's minimal blood, but you could really just assume for yourself what happened, and I feel like that's even scarier, man. That's like Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, you know. It really like plays with your mind, you know, your psyche, you know, and I feel like this movie really does succeed at that. And this movie, man, it's messed up. I want to say don't watch it. I really want to say this movie should be banned, okay? But it succeeds at what it was trying to do. Here's the back cover. The back cover is dark as F too. This movie is just messed up. But that's why it gets number 2. I would give it number 1 because this is out there, you guys. But yeah, this movie, The Eyes of My Mother, if you see it, put it back and wash your hands after. No, but if you like dark, messed up stuff, this is a movie for you. Definitely accomplishes what it was trying to do. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm not a typical movie reviewer. But yeah, this movie is messed up. So, but it gets a solid 10 out of 10. Crisscross WTF sauce from me. Alrighty, guys, let's get to number 1 now. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. Dun 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 dun. The number 1 horror movie from the Dollar Tree that Kenneth Ramone picked up is Tell Me How I Die. Okay, guys, so this is the cheesiest title ever, okay? You know, I was at the Dollar Tree, I'm like, Tell Me How I Die. But anyways, what really drew me in was Nathan Kress here from iCarly. I always loved that guy. So I had to just check this out. You know, I was like, man, this is probably going to be bad, right? You know, Tell Me How I Die. Okay. Anyways, so I just popped this into the player, and let me tell you guys, I was hooked. Okay, usually with a lot of these Dollar Tree movies, you know, I'm sure a lot of you could attest to that. You're just on your phone, you know, scrolling through Facebook. You're so bored at the movie. You're just like, okay, you know what? It was worth $1. Never again. Okay, it's time to take this down to Goodwill. That was not the case for this movie. I was just so hooked, man. I could have thrown my phone away. I wanted to watch this movie and just see like what the conclusion was going to be. So anyways, what this movie is about, you guys, is this group of college students, and they're partaking in this experiment, right? There's this doctor who came up with this crazy experiment that lets you see into the future. Like you take this drug, right? And then like after like a few hours or so, it lets you kind of see into the future. And not only that though, but also like your death and also the death of others. So this kind of has like a Final Destination inspiration as well with this one. But it's just so cool, man. It's just so cool to see like how these people kind of like see their death, but also like try to escape it too, just like Final Destination, but it takes that to a whole new level, kind of like in a Groundhog Day type of vibe, where they kind of live the moment and then they try to just either live it again or try to escape it. And I love that. And the actors in this movie, Nathan Kress is the only like name actor, but this guy right here, phenomenal job. He had some comic relief as well, but he's just a great actor. I'm drawing a blank on the name. I think that's it right there. But he is really good in this movie and so compelling, you know, the performances from these actors, because they feel like they're like genuinely like afraid, man. They're like, man, why did I do this? Why did I sign up for this experiment? This is stupid. Like I see like all my friends dying and I can't do anything to stop it. Like it gets so dramatic, man. And it has like this climatic ending too, like with the swimming pool. I'm remembering it in my head. It was just so cool. It really stuck out. And then like the whole environment where this movie takes place, you could kind of see it right here. It's like here's like the whole like laboratory set up, like the whole hospital, and right here like it takes place in the winter time, so like it's like really snowy, and you know, like you could kind of see it like in the movie. Like the cinematography in this movie is spot on and like capturing like the whole feel of this movie. Like this could have been a book, man. I wonder if this was a book, because like I would have enjoyed like just reading this, like just how this movie plays out. It's just, I'm pleasantly surprised, you guys. That's all I could say. Like, I was expecting this movie to be a dud with a title called Tell Me How I Die. And this is number one. This is number one on my Dollar Tree horror movie list. 10 out of 10. Crisscross. Awesome, awesome sauce. Definitely pick this up if you see it at your Dollar Tree, guys. You're not going to be disappointed. So, that's all I could say, you guys. This movie kicks butt. Alrighty, guys. Well, those are my top 10 Dollar Tree horror movie picks for 2021. I think I'm going to make this an annual thing. You guys let me know if you would like that. You guys, do you agree with my list? Was there something in there that you saw that you thought was awesome? And is there anything that you would recommend to me? Any like horror movies that you saw that totally just blew your mind and you're like, wow, I can't believe I found this at the Dollar Tree. This is awesome. Let me know down in the comments section. I would love to hear about it. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for all the support, man. You guys rock. And as always, just thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. Happy spooky season. Kenneth Ramon. Oh, signing off.